The Kansas City Chiefs win their third straight game, and it did not look pretty in the first half, but they got it done in the second today on Locked On Chiefs.
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Everybody, welcome back to another episode of Locked On Chiefs, your Locked On show of the game, live edition. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So much to talk about in this game. It was a tale of two halves, and we're going to be getting into that, but we're going to talk about who was locked on, who earned game balls a little bit later in the show. We're going to talk about turning points in the next segment, which is pretty easy because it really turned at halftime. But we're going to start off with Monday Night Football Magic, joined today by Matt Derrick, as always, our intrepid beat reporter from the Chiefs. Thank you so much for joining us, Matt, and Ryan over from RGR Football. It's a little bit late. It's 11:30 when we're recording this, and this is your Locked On Chiefs live after game. Matt, how's it going?
Long. I mean, it's it feels like it's a little bit later than usual, but
right.
And I'm not going to see too much behind me. I know there's a little bit of the stadium, but everybody pretty much is cleared off of the field. Even I think the ESPN set's gone from here. So Monday Night Football has pretty much officially left the building.
Okay, we're winning. I think that they're probably better off on the road again. I think that Chiefs are as well. They dodged a bullet early, came out and probably didn't hit the rhythm they were looking for. I'm going to take a wild guess, and that's not the way they wanted to start that game. First quarter in particular, Matt, what gave it away? Was it Patrick made a comment after the game, I think, to the broadcast about just not coming out flat again with low energy and needing that halftime adjustment. What did you see in the first quarter that set it apart?
Well, I didn't think they were necessarily that flat. It was just, two particular plays that killed him. One, obviously, Travis Kelce had the bobble that turns into an interception. At least it didn't cost him this time as much as it did against the Eagles. But, Mahomes has 4 interceptions now on the season, and 2 of them are straight off the hands of Travis Kelce. So I think that's going to be a little bit frustrating. But Mahomes kind of downplayed it. Kelce did not talk to us after the game. I know he's talked to Scott Van Pelt. I have not heard what he said there yet. So maybe he gave all the answers there. And then, Mahomes and Hollywood Brown had a moment where they just were not quite on the same page as far as the throw goes. And Marcus Lattimore was in great position to make an interception. Those 2 turnovers were huge. And the Chiefs got the stops that they at least needed. But I thought both, offenses in particular were a little sloppy, at least in the first half. I mean, you had Washington had a couple of drives where they turned over the ball on downs. The Chiefs had the drives where they turned the ball over on interceptions. Once the Chiefs seemed to get that out of their system, though, I mean, they got the score in the second quarter to kind of get things going. And then in the second half, obviously, it was all Chiefs.
Yeah, and you look at that and you look at how this game played out. It was a tale of two halves. And the big thing that stood out to me, as you said, the interceptions, stuff that you can't have happen. Travis Kelce, don't know what you really say about that other than he can't have the ball continue to bounce off his hands and turn the ball over. You're right, though, Matt. It wasn't as big of a deal as the one against Philadelphia where they ended up taking advantage of it. But those are the types of plays that against better teams will get you beat. And to me, it looked like, at least in the first half, this was a team that wasn't focused and came out. I don't know that I would say without energy. They just didn't look focused. They didn't look like they were locked on and ready to go in this game. And it was one of those things where once they figured out what to do and made a couple of adjustments, the offense clicked. I mean, 4 touchdown drives of close to over 70 yards plus. I think one was 65, the 3 more of over 70. I mean, just a completely different game in the second half than it was the first.
Yeah, 4 touchdown drives and 5 drives overall.
Mm-hmm.
Between, I think, at the end of the second quarter and the beginning of the third. And, once again, I mean, Chiefs, they scored more points. They kind of called off the dogs a little bit and just took things a little bit easy in the second half. And in the fourth quarter, didn't put in the backups, really, especially on offense. They really never did that. They did put the backups on defense. So that kind of called it off. But again, I mean, you get a 28-7 win. I don't know how you really say that, they didn't come out with enough energy or didn't have enough focus. They still won this game. I think once again, you have two plays that, one, give up to Lattimore. He made a good play. It wasn't a great throw. It wasn't a great, job of Hollywood defending the ball and even trying to knock it away. And again, Kelce, hey, the rest of the game outweighed that one drop and that one bobble that turned into the turnover, and obviously let you hurt yourself. But it's hard to find a reason to be disappointed with me in a 28-7 win, even if it is against the 500-ish team with a backup quarterback.
If I did anything wrong at all, Matt, is I called the game 27-17 Chiefs, and I gave the Commanders too much credit. One of those things is because I thought they'd be able to run the ball better. I thought they would attack better. They ended up with Bill with 2.8 yards a carry. Mariota was their leading rusher, and not only yardage but average. That was surprising to me. Not that I should be shocked, because this defense has been able to pull themselves up by their bootstraps all season long, and those interceptions put them into that spotlight, and they were Johnny on the spot and responded. I thought the defense, in terms of its coming together and being prepared to deal with uncertainty, certainly set that apart today in the first half. Am I wrong?
I know, I don't think you are wrong. And, again, this has been a strength of this defense now for a while. And their calling card is that the first thing that they want to do is they want to shut down the opposition's run game. There's a reason why they've been calling it now for a few years, kill the engine. And, we even got some stories the last couple of weeks from Joe Colin and the rest of the staff about how that's how they begin their week, is they begin with the run game meetings and how they're going to stop run that week. So it's a consistent storyline with this team that they stop the run. The one thing that I thought that was going to be interesting today, that, Mariota came into this game averaging 9.4 yards a carry, and, only had 10 carries on the season in his two starts, but that was enough. And they came out with designed runs specifically to try and get Mariota going. And the Chiefs quickly shut down with bringing in Leo Chenal again as a spy. That worked pretty effectively. And, once they kind of shut down the run game and got that going, it really didn't take a whole lot more to shut down the passing game, because even though Washington had back, their two best receivers in McLaurin and Debo, they never were really able to become multidimensional. And the Chiefs, obviously, I think they got some help from the play calling. Washington decided to go for it in a couple of positions rather than take some points, and that probably helped the Chiefs a little bit. I don't think it was the deciding factor in this game, but those fourth down stops that they got in the first half were pretty critical.
Yeah, they absolutely were. And I think when you watch how this game played out and you look at how the Kansas City Chiefs played both first half and second half, offensively and defensively, they just kind of changed how things were going in the second half. The one thing I will say, and you made a great point, Matt, about getting Debo Samuel back and getting McLaurin back, huge things for the Commanders. McLaurin made two amazing plays. That touchdown grab was a fantastic play. It wasn't great defense. They shouldn't have been in the situation where he's guarded by who he was guarded by at that time, and there was nobody around him. But the play on the sideline against Trent McDuffie, you tip your hat to a guy for making those types of plays. McDuffie was right there, and those are just kinds of plays that, if they make them against you, you just hope that they don't make enough of them to make you regret it at the end of the game. So I liked what I saw from this defense in the second half. I thought it was a great way to see things. And at this point, I am excited to see how things are going to be going in the future. They have a huge game against Buffalo. When we get back, we're going to be talking about the turning points in this game right after this.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs. With features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance, you can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go, while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
Locked On Chiefs returns. This is your live post-game show. A lot of comments. Appreciate those. Thank you so much. And Matt, this was a game, like I said, kind of looked like a tale of two halves to an extent. I agree with you. There were some mistakes that they made. But what did you really see that turned this game and turned the tide for the Chiefs?
I think there was a couple of, up things for sure. But, one, I think once the Chiefs go, that kind of just got them out of their rut. If anything, maybe looked like maybe the wagon was just stuck in the mud a little bit on those first few drives because they were moving the football well. And obviously the turnovers are what ended up costing them. But, it wasn't like they were having any outs, anything like that. So I think it was just they kind of just needed to get out of neutral a little bit. And here's the thing, and I've had a few people notice this, and I think Mahomes talked about it a little bit, and even at his press conference tonight, is that this team's having fun. And I don't know if last year they had a lot of fun because the three-peat pressure was on every single week. And even if they didn't want to talk about it, it was there. And this year, I'm not sure that they started out having a lot of fun either. They were down some guys. The trip to Brazil was not fun at all. But now that the offense is playing well, the defense is playing well, this is 53 guys having a pretty good time. And coaches are having a good time too. Practice squad guys are having a good time. And people are noticing it. People that are close to this team are talking about the fact that, hey, these guys look like they're having fun. It's first time in a long time. And I think you're seeing that translate onto the field as well. When you've got guys who are having fun and they're playing well, that just feeds on itself. And you look at the numbers right now, and you could arguably, I think, say that the last, 4 games, maybe the Chiefs, this might be the best 4-game stretch that this team's had in a long time of just football on both sides of the ball. They've certainly have had games where the offense played lights out, defense played lights out, but for both sides of the ball to be playing at the level that they are right now, and like I said, having the fun that they are right now, I don't know if I remember this in a long, long time.
Fun breeds its own kind of enthusiasm for the next time and the next time. And you can build upon it. And I think for me, watching this game in its entirety and in picking up the little things to change, I thought it was very telling that there were a lot of chunk plays in this game. And I think the first turning point for me would be the one where Xavier Worthy just goes and finds space and they just kind of forget about him. You get 27 yards on a team that isn't really like meandering the way they normally do. I thought that was the beginning of the turnaround. I won't say it was the end of it, but what does that do for them, Matt? Other than the celebration, we got to work on that Worthy celebration thing. But what does that do for the enthusiasm of that team?
Yeah, you got a couple different celebrations going on. One's the bird celebration that's still left over from the Ravens win. That was kind of Xavier Worthy's just extemporaneous celebration. They all been stealing ever since then. And then they got the 6-7 thing going on, which I still can't just explain or tell you what's going on. But this team usually, when they're playing well, here's the great thing that when this team is having fun and they're playing well, they got inside jokes on their celebrations that just they amongst themselves, and they're just waiting for everybody to figure out what they're doing. But yeah, I will add one more thing. Chris, you were talking about just what was kind of the plays in the second half that really kind of jump-started things, and I think there was a couple that still stand out to me, and I think the ones got. Maybe when there were moments that this team's energy might have been dropping and fired them up. One was certainly the penalty Noah Gray drew when he got hit and for hitting a defenseless receiver. That was a drive that looked like maybe it was starting to sputter a little bit. Noah Gray helps them get 15 yards and gets bailed out a little bit, and they go down and score in that drive. I think that was a big help. And then, there's nothing more demoralizing than a 94-yard drive. And at that point, that score was the one that certainly put the game away. But the thing that I want to note in that one, the Chiefs because of the 25 yards in penalties that they had on that drive and starting to drive the 6, they had 119 yards of offense on that drive. According to StatHead and Pro Football Reference, that's the 4th most yards of offense in the last quarter century on any one drive. Most that the Chiefs have ever had, since they have data going back to 2001. So that to me is pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think that specific drive, and I track. A lot of I track third downs. That specific drive, I don't even think they even got into third downs very often, and that's the crazy thing to me. 119 yards, and you look at how this team played. You look at how this offense played. They had 4 drives in the second half that were, I think, 65, 75, 78 or 9, and then 119. So you're basically averaging over 75 yards a drive for your touchdowns. That's not normal in the NFL. Sure, you're going to have some long touchdown drives, but that's not normal. The Chiefs have turned that into normal. But the other thing that's interesting to me in how they've been playing lately is you look at it and you go back to watch, or you go back and look at 3 games ago. Mahomes has now 3 straight games of throwing 3 touchdown passes. And while that's not fantastic, that is something that I don't know that he's done regularly since maybe his rookie year, at least in a 3-game stretch where he's doing it consistently game in, game out. And I will say this, I think he has a great chance of doing it a 4th game in a row because that Bills secondary is not good, and it's going to be a big game come Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, and hey, was there any part of this game that could have been a trap game? Could the Chiefs have been looking ahead to Buffalo? Yeah. I didn't really get that sense, and I don't think that it was. I mean, could that have been a reason to explain the slow start to begin the game? This team has spent a little bit too much time worrying about Buffalo like next week. Like I said, I don't really think that it was, but I do know that now that this game is out of its way, this team zeroed in on that game next week against Buffalo. And, I think this is the first time in a long time where the Chiefs are probably the better team and by a little bit of a margin because Buffalo's defense has been so bad. And honestly, I mean, until this week, Josh Allen, the offense have been kind of scuffling a little bit too. We'll just see if Andy Reid remains as aggressive as he has been the last month because once again, you see some of the things the Chiefs were whipping out today. I mean, Rashee Rice and the Wildcat quarterback in the backfield. Some of the other things that they were doing. I mean, he's been looking out the playbook. And, whether they do that against Buffalo next week, I mean, Andy Reid has always been, hey, it's not about the battle, it's about the war. He would rather win the game in January than the game in October or November. So, is he going to give away his whole playbook next week against Buffalo? Who knows? Probably not. But could they still win the regular season game this year because of the team? Yeah, I think they could.
Do you think that Andy's going to put in the play call of throw a short pass to Xavier Worthy on the left-hand side of the field and have him run it all the way back right for like 15 yards? Because that was a play
not exactly in the playbook, but you know what? If you can do it, why not try it? I'm surprised that they didn't get a holding penalty on that play. That's what the Chiefs usually do.
Well, yeah, the thing that worried me about it was that he's coming back across, and you have a defensive lineman running at Patrick Mahomes, and I'm going, this is not going to be good. But it ended up working out. This is just, it's fun. You talk about this team having fun with the way that they're playing. But defensively, like, they look like they were struggling. They couldn't figure out how to stop Mariota to an extent in the first half. Yes, they got the turnover. And there's a couple more that they could have had probably in the second half before they ended up getting the one at the very end of the game. But defensively, they started to make stops. They started to get pressure and started to make plays when they were afforded the opportunity to make a play. A great example of that is Mike Dana's sack. That's just one of those. I wouldn't call it necessarily a turning point specifically, but it was one of those plays that kind of encapsulated what happened to the Commanders' offense in the second half, in my opinion.
Well, and once again, I mean, in the NFL, a lot of times, week to week, I mean, how do you win games? You win games by making fewer mistakes than the other team. And today, both teams made a lot of mistakes. The Chiefs made more mistakes than honestly they normally do when it comes to penalties and it comes to turnover. But I mean, that Mike Dana sack, they just didn't block him, didn't account for him. And when you make mistakes like that, it can cost you ball games. Chiefs aren't making mistakes like that. And that's why I think that's one of the big differences between the Chiefs and a team like the Commanders.
A lot more to talk about when we talk about who was locked on for this game and who gets the game balls right after this.
Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. And we've all heard them before. It's I'm just stressed or I'm tired or whatever it is. Sometimes when it comes to your performance, your body just needs a little extra support. And that's where Rashee comes in. Rashee is a fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatment for ED that's designed to help people stop making excuses and start making moves. Rashee makes it easy to get started. You can get connected with a board-certified doctor for 100% online. No awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments, nothing that you got to worry about. If prescribed, your treatment gets discreetly delivered straight to your door. It's fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real docs. Visit Rashee.com. RUGIET.com/LockedOnNFL to get 15% off of your first offer. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNFL. And you don't forget to use our code LockedOnNFL so they know where they sent you. Rashee, stop making excuses and start making moves. The NBA is back and you guys can get in the action. There's no better place to do that than at FanDuel, the official sportsbook betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game, it doesn't matter. If you want to ride that hot hand, you can get in the action whenever it comes due. FanDuel has live bets and everything from who will score, who will be that fourth quarter comeback, who will be the leading rebounder on any given night. Plus, you can combine your live bets into the same game parlay and take a shot at an even bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push and you're really into it. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets right now if your first bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com and sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Who was locked on and who gets the game balls going into this game or coming out of this game against the Commanders? Matt, I will give you, since you're a guest, I will give you the first shot at who you want to give the locked on award to.
Well, the guy that was locked on to me was the guy that made a couple of big plays in this game. And the sack was one thing, but when you're a defensive lineman and you get an interception off a deflection from a wide receiver and that ball is hanging in the air, I don't know what was going through Mike Dana's mind, but I can just only imagine how wide his eyes were. I talked to him after the game. That's the first interception that he's ever had, even going back to high school. He's had some scoops and scores in the past, but getting his first interception was a big deal. We talked about how he'd come close before, and he finally wanted to get one. So the fact that, hey, your defensive lineman was finally able to secure an interception, big play, big moment, and I always love it when big defensive linemen intercept passes or offensive linemen are catching touchdowns.
I like where your head's at, and I'm going to stick at that same position group. The guy for me that was the most locked on tonight had to be. This was the first time that I can remember that officially Chris Jones was held without a pressure. 30 pass rush snaps, 0 pressures. Who had to step up? Yes, Mike Dan had a couple of nice plays, but it was George Karlaftis that stirred the drink. He did get home that one time, did get that sack, but had another hit, had a TFL. As you stack up those stats, it becomes clear who else is putting out when Chris Jones is getting all the attention. And would I have liked to see more? Yes, I thought he had a prime matchup against Josh Cowley, but I thought he took advantage of the way that he needed to. I thought he played his game. I thought he was locked on focused on what he had to do against these Commanders.
Yeah, I like that one, and it was interesting. We should mention Laramie Tunsil went out for the Commanders, so that kind of changed their offensive line and how things went for them in the second half. For me, I'm going to go a little bit of a different direction, and I'm going to say that my guy that gets locked on was Kareem Hunt, and it wasn't just because of his running. Like he had a good 11-yard run. He was successful on the short yardage runs that he had as well. But it was leaking out of the backfield and giving Mahomes a target when Mahomes is running towards the sideline and catching a touchdown pass on fourth down, nonetheless, that gets him my locked on. I thought Kareem showed what you need from him at that moment, and doing those short yardage plays is huge.
You'll get no argument from me. And I just want to give a quick shout out to a Commanders player. Because this is something that I'm anticipating. So a year from now, when we're talking about Jeremy McNichols being that new jet back that is the third or the fourth in the backfield because he's a great pass catcher, just remember this ball game, folks. So you'll be hearing me talk about it all offseason.
Oh boy, here we go. All right, Matt, who you got for your game ball on this one?
I mean, if it wasn't for that one pass that kind of ruined two nights, because Mahomes and Kelsey had the one pass for -1 yards early. Other than that, Kelsey would have had 100 yards and Mahomes would have had 300. So Patrick Mahomes, 299 yards, 3 touchdowns. I'm only going to put 1 pick on the sheet. I'm sure Pro Football Focus will probably say he had 4 turnover-worthy throws, but I'm not on that page. I'm only giving him one of those turnovers. The other one, he had some help. But another, once again, I mean, big night for Mahomes. He was in control almost all of the night. 1 turnover-worthy throw. Like I said, I mean, Hollywood probably could have helped him out a little bit on, but didn't get it. But again, I mean, Mahomes was in control. He had time. When he didn't have time, he bought time. He moved around well. And once again, you see that, not only when he gets out of the pocket and he scrambles can he make plays, but even like on the touchdown to Kareem. I mean, Mahomes getting out of the pocket and then acting like he was going to scramble helped free up Kareem, got his guy off of him, and Kareem ends up wide open in the end zone. And, a couple of the plays tonight, I mean, the biggest plays that the Chiefs had were Mahomes buying time. So to me, I mean, and until this guy has a flat game, which he doesn't, I mean, he's going to deserve a game ball every single week. Because right now, I think this guy is the league MVP.
There you go. Ryan, who you got?
He's strong.
Can't argue on that one.
No, I can't. I mean... And I am just I'm baffled at how I could not. Have we mentioned Travis Kelce's name yet? I haven't, so I'm going to now. There you go.
Well, Matt just did talking about the interception that Mahomes threw to him, but yes,
right, fair enough. But I mean his performance, and you're right, Matt. That 1 yard might have made a difference in rounding out the numbers. But let's be real. He's 37 years old. He's 38 years old. He's
45.
All these things. It seems every broadcast it seems to get older, but he also had one of those big chunk plays. And when he gets loose and he's running those little pivot routes and he's doing all the things, even at this age, he's still effective. And I think if you can make the argument for him being the GOAT at his position as well as Mahomes, it is. But 99 yards and that touchdown to take that tie, and hopefully they can build on that next week. I'm going to just kind of hang with him. And I know it's shocking that I'm going to go offense, but I'm going to.
I have to say two things.
I want to say something real quick, Chris, because I want to point out to everybody that yes, I was not locked on because I stole Chris's game ball because I am so used to picking the low hanging fruit that I forgot that Rashee Rice was my game ball. So I was not locked on this week.
Now you're killing me because I was going to go use Rashee Rice as mine, but that's fine. No, I do want to say two things though.
I want to give you a break, Chris, because you're taking the guy that you are not getting your first choice. It's my fault.
No, it's fine. No, and the whole reason, and to be clear, and so everybody knows, like Matt, we actually talk about game balls before the show. So Matt and I really discussed who's going to get who, and Matt goes with Mahomes, and I'm sitting there going, okay, I guess I'll go with Rashee Rice. But the reason I wanted to go with Mahomes is because the way I thought about this game was it was almost a Jekyll and Hyde type of game for him to an extent. Because in the first half, he was struggling at times. Like, I'm not saying it was all on him. Obviously, the Travis Kelce thing wasn't on him. But it wasn't a great throw or a great decision to go to Hollywood Brown when he did. But then he comes back out and he has this amazing second half, and it completely makes you forget about what he did in the first half. And then it was one of those other scenarios where you're sitting there and any other quarterback, just about any other QB in the NFL, all, probably 28 of the other 31 quarterback starters, if they do what Mahomes did where he's falling away backwards, throwing across his body, you're screaming at the TV going, no, 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 no. But you watch him do it, and he's done it multiple times, and that is what makes him special. He can get away with things like that because he's done it, and he's done it on the practice field. But to your point, Ryan, talking about Travis Kelce, the thing that sticks out to me is the dichotomy and the difference between Travis Kelce and Noah Gray. Because the thing with Travis Kelce on that long touch, on not the touchdown, but the long catch, he wasn't even in the route. He was a blocker. He saw Mahomes get in trouble, and he released, and Mahomes saw it and said, okay, I'll hit that. And I don't remember how far that was. Like, it ended up being, what, 30 yards, 35 yards? Probably. Yeah, something like that. Like, it was almost a 40-yard play, and it wasn't a long pass. I get that, whatever. But then you look at that, and you look at the difference between his relationship with Mahomes and Noah Gray's relationship with Mahomes. And Gray's been here for years, and I'm not trying to throw him under the bus, but Gray should have had a touchdown in this game because Mahomes is looking for him to take Bobby Wagner to the end zone, and Noah Gray is running the route that was called. Like, that's the difference between the relationship between those two, and it really sticks out to me in games like this. But I will say my game ball, thank you, Matt, is going to Rashee Rice. 9 targets, 9 catches, and 93 yards and a touchdown. Plus 2 runs. So Rashee Rice continues doing things that are going to be great for this offense, and you look at what he has brought. And, I said this, if you haven't checked it out, go check out the Chiefs squad show. I said this on the squad show. The thing that sticks out to me that's different about this offense, and it's kind of changed over the past couple of weeks, is guess who didn't get a target tonight? Tyquan Thornton didn't get targeted once. He was on the field. I saw him on the field a couple of different times, but he didn't get targeted. He was a big part of their offense early on, especially when you lose Worthy. But since Worthy's back, since now you have Rice, Tyquan Thornton is a guy that's so far down the depth chart, he's not getting any targets. And you're not using the deep game. Now, I understand that it's going to depend on who you're playing in the scheme and all that. I get that. But it's just interesting to see the dichotomy and how things have changed from, a month ago to where they are right now, where a guy that is catching 2 or 3 big deep balls for you a game or getting at least deep targets isn't getting anything a couple of games later.
I'm going to review all of Tyquan's snaps, and I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on. So catch us later in the week when that comes up. That was a great idea, Chris.
Okay, fair enough. And there you go. So I gave Ryan something, and I, kind of gave Matt something there on that. So that's going to be it for us tonight. Thank you all for listening. We do appreciate it. Leave your comments down below in the YouTube channel. We really do appreciate those. And we will be back to talk more about this game. Tomorrow we will be having Matt back. I guess actually, Matt, you would be back for tomorrow's show, wouldn't you? Because it's
good.
Wednesday show. So we'll have you. Yeah, and we're going to discuss this again so we get on the same page for tomorrow's show. So not a big deal. You all have a great night. Thank you all for listening. We really do appreciate it, and we will talk to you tomorrow.